everyone. So I'm going to talk very quickly about a few websites that are typical for Taiwanese people to buy things online, um, and kind of tricks and tips that I would suggest when you use these apps. So there are five places that are quite reputable that I personally use when it comes to online shopping. Um, the first one is Yahoo Auction. Second one is Shopee, and I'll link these down below. Shopee as in SHOPEE.com.tw. Obviously, always has .tw. The third one is everyone's favorite PC Home, or 24-hour PC Home, either one. Route 10, and also Momo. So all five of these are auction places, sort of, that I've personally bought from. There's another one called Pinkoi, Pinkoi, which is sort of like a craft sort of a place for people to design stuff and sell on their own. It's sort of like the Taiwanese Etsy, is how I would best describe it. I've never bought anything from there, but just because everything is a little bit pricier. So one thing I want to mention is this is only my experience. It's pretty much like using eBay more than Amazon. So it's sort of like eBay. You want to be careful of ratings. You want to Google Translate the reviews. And if there are negative comments, you want to see what it's about. And typically, I wouldn't buy things that are extremely expensive. If they tend to be more expensive, I will typically go to PC Home. Um, but basically, I don't even trust. Well, it's sort of like when I buy things on eBay. I pretty much will buy things that tend to be cheaper unless I have to. Um, of course, I would rather see things in person than that. If it's something technology related, for example, I've been wanting to buy a ring light or like a microphone that clips to my shirt that has a longer cord than my earphones. But I couldn't find that at technology stores in Taiwan like Nova. So they told me all to go to PC Home, so I guess I will have to resort to that instead. But either way, be careful with ratings, things like this. When you see, for example, branded stuff like Nike, or for example, be prepared for knockoffs, and also the prices are extremely high. Sometimes you might think it's real and authentic, sometimes they're not. So when it comes to expensive or things with brands, I wouldn't necessarily trust them at times. Okay, so be cautious when you're shopping on these websites. There's also Taobao, but I'm not as familiar with that one. Taobao is from China, but they do have much cheaper stuff. But in one of my experiences, I never got my package for someone, so I'm just going to talk about the ones I do use. Now, it's very convenient to use the apps when there's specific apps you could download for all of the ones I've mentioned, and but it's easier to use it on your laptop, probably, just because you could Google Translate everything. Of course, you'll need to make an account, things like that. Some require a phone number, and they typically will require you to enter in your ID number, which ID number is like your ARC, most likely, or you're basically like your identification number in Taiwan. Email, phone number is usually a must, things like that. So a few things I want to mention is sometimes when people post listings, there are some things you cannot Google Translate, and I would say I would take, for example, they might have like a picture that you can't Google Translate with Google Chrome. So I'll take a picture of my screen and try to Google Translate with it as an image. If you hear any bells, it's because my cats are fighting. They're fine. But basically, yeah. Sometimes you cannot directly translate from Chrome. So in that event, I'll just take my phone, take a picture, and try to, translate it as an image to see what it says, just in case it's talking about, whether to leave notes for the seller, or, some things they want you to be aware of. Sometimes they might even mention it's not an authentic product, that it's a knockoff or something like that. So be wise about it. If you see, for example, a long shop looking bag for only 300 NT, probably not real. Okay, so there are a lot of knockoff looking things in Taiwan, and in the pictures they look fantastic, but when you receive it in person, you're like, wow, that wasn't what I asked for. So you get what you pay, is what I'm saying, especially on these auction websites. But I especially love ordering things like, for example, stationery, or like patches, or like, small cute little things, that sometimes you may not be able to find in stores as often. I feel like crafting is not a huge thing outside of Taipei, so sometimes I'll just resort to going online and shopping at these websites. Another thing to be aware of is different ways to pay. Now, when you have the drop down menu, or when you're about to pay and check out, it'll ask you for different ways or methods of payment. The first one is usually ATM transfer. I have never done that before. I don't know how. I just don't feel comfortable doing an ATM transfer, to be honest. So I would kind of personally advise against that. The best way is, one way is to pay at what they call Kima, Kimo, which is like the 7-Eleven machine. Oh, was that right? Or is that Family Mart? I think 7-Eleven might be Ibon, IBON. Anyways, you pay at their machine, and you could ask the staff to help you with that. And you basically will get a number to pay for, and pay in advance. I'm not a huge fan of that one as well, especially if there are multiple sellers. I will typically pick the one that allows me to pay at pickup. So there are different ways to pick up your package. One is to get it sent directly to your home. I'm not a huge fan of that, because sometimes you're not home during the day, and if you're not there, the postman or postwoman will constantly call you to ask where you are, and if you don't pick it up, there's a lot of drama. So I usually send it to my nearest 7-Eleven or Family Mart or any convenience store. I think High Life also accepts packages, and yeah, you could basically ship it there, and once you receive it, you'll get a text message. You go there, pick up your package, and then you pay there, then and there. Now, one thing to keep in mind is return policies in general in Taiwan are insanely difficult. In fact, a lot of them do not even allow for returns. So like I said, when you're first buying, you might want to consider buying just a few things. Don't buy things that are very expensive. To kind of test out the seller, shipping is typically around 60 NT, so about $2 for shipping. And so those are things to keep in mind. I enjoy using them, but again, always check out ratings, try to Google Translate, everything like that. If possible, for example, check out their return policy. If you don't know what it says, ask a local person about it. Some return policies are credit when you pay for different websites in Taiwan. But for 7-Eleven, I believe, not 7-Eleven, but if you buy things on those auction websites I mentioned, typically they will give you some refund, or no refund at all, or no return at all. So keep those things in mind. But again, those are websites, in case you're wondering how I buy things online, or Yahoo Auction, Shopee, PC Home, Route 10, and Momo. All for different things. Yahoo, Shopee, and Route 10 are quite similar. PC Home I definitely prefer for like technology, and Momo is sort of where I go for like smaller fashion items or something like that. So use at your discretion, but hopefully that helps in case you're wondering where to buy stuff. If you can't find it in stores or at shops, sometimes you can find it online. And if, for example, I'm trying to translate something, or if I'm trying to look up something, I'll just use Google Translate and translate to traditional Chinese. And if I really need help, then I'll ask like a coworker or friend or something like that. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.